Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank those committee members who organize this conference and Bahir Dar University to host this special event, which gives an opportunity for African graduate students to present their work. Having said that, I am Dibo Kulwalam, a PhD candidate, attending my PhD in Educational Policy and Leadership in Bahir Dar University. And the work what I am going to present is supervised by the Dr. Malaku Mangistu Gabramaskal, who is an associate professor and the well-known professional in Bahir Dar University. The title, what I am going to present here is the effect of shared leadership on teachers' organizational commitment in secondary schools of East Gojam, Amhara region, in Ethiopia. As the title shows that, to say something about the background or the introductory part of my work, as it is well known, leadership or quality leaders and competent teachers are very essential for the educational, to lead the education. In cognizant of that, leadership gets great attention in policy documents, in educational programs throughout the world, including our country, Ethiopia. This, however, it is a type of, so many types of leadership are practiced in educational institutions as well as other organizations. Besides to the educational leadership, teachers' commitment is one of the school-related variables that researchers from around the world looked at along their various approaches. Given that the educational leadership style and behavior are most likely produce favorable outcomes and have desired impact on teachers' outcome or on teachers' performance. The problem is, however, the wisdom of leadership is very important aspect. It is highly given that instructional leadership, transformational leadership, and other leadership types are has got great attention from different aspects. But timely, these leadership approaches are criticized for different reasons. For example, instructional leadership is criticized for it gives great emphasis for school leaders, particularly for principals, than including teachers in the leadership activities. The same is true for transformational leadership. Transformational leadership, on the other hand, give emphasis to as that of instructional leadership, it gives great emphasis to the assigned leaders rather than giving an opportunity to play their role to teachers. Therefore, the wisdom of shared leadership or the wisdom of leadership is shifted to sharing leadership. That is not to mean that shared leadership is not the only option. Rather, mixing shared leadership and traditional leadership approaches become an important aspect timely. But when you observe the leadership practices in the actual working place, principals are the only leaders and some or few assigned teachers are the only assigned school leaders which involve in leadership activities. But timely, as the number of students are increasing in number and the schools become complex, sharing leadership become mandatory, which is a problem. Based on these standing points, this study focuses on answering the following three questions. One, the first question goes on to what extent shared leadership is practiced in secondary schools of the study area. The second question is about identifying the extent of secondary schools teachers' commitment, particularly focusing on affective, normative, and continuous commitment. The third question is about the relationship between shared leadership and teachers' commitment. And the last question, which is highly related to the third question, is to what extent shared leadership explain teachers' commitment in the study area. Having these four important questions, the data was collected from secondary schools, as I told you before, or as mentioned in the title, and 652 teachers were participated in filling the questionnaire for the purpose of the present study. And the instruments used to collect this data were adapted from the well-known researchers around the world. Shared leadership was measured by an instrument adapted from Burso, which consists of four important domains: collaboration, shared vision and values, delegation, and shared culture. Regarding his organizational commitment, it was adapted from Mears and Allen, which is used repeatedly around the world, as well as in Ethiopian context, which consists of 18 items and organized into three domains: affective commitment, normative commitment, and continuous commitment. Once the instrument was developed from well-known scholars, it was tested to make compatible with the present context by taking 92 teachers from those schools who are not included in the main study. And Cronbach alpha was used to calculate the reliability of the instrument. Accordingly, the coefficient alpha was found greater than 0.70 for all domains, and it was suggested as acceptable. Besides to that, Losch's content validity ratio was used to validate the content, phase, and construct validity. To do that, 12 experts was invited from Addis Ababa University, Bahir Dar University, Haramaya University, Waldia University, and the comments given from these experts was calculated by Losch's content validity, and it was found 0.83 and suggested as acceptable. But some modifications in wordings, in statements, and some variations commented from the experts was taken into consideration, and the final instrument was used to collect the main data for the final research. So the data was analyzed, the collected data was analyzed using descriptive statistics, mean and standard deviation, and one sample t-test was used with its corresponding Holmes effect size was used to describe the practice of shared leadership and the status of teachers' organizational commitment. Besides to that, Pearson correlation coefficient was computed to determine the relationship between shared leadership and teachers' organizational commitment along its domains. Besides to that, drawing on the obtained relationships of the two variables, simple and multiple linear regression analysis was computed to examine the effect of shared leadership on teachers' organizational commitment. Having said this, the results of the study was presented in the following manner. As I said before, mean and standard deviation was used to describe the status of teachers' the school's shared leadership practice and teachers' levels of organizational commitment. Accordingly, the sample mean was calculated for each of the domains: shared collaboration, shared vision and values, delegation, shared culture, and the total score for shared leadership was computed and compared with the testing value, which is set as 3. Thus, it was found that all of the mean values for each of the domains and the total shared leadership was found below the test value, which implies that shared leadership was not practiced to the expected level. However, the t-test or the one sample t-test showed that the difference between the sample mean and the test value was significantly different. And the corresponding conicity for each of the domains was found strong, implying that the difference between the sample mean and the expected mean was very strong. Regarding with teachers' organizational commitment, it was found that affective commitment, normative commitment, and continuous commitment was below the expected level. And as that of the shared leadership, the conicity was strong, implying that the difference between the sample mean and the expected mean was strong, Thus, once known the status of shared leadership and teachers' level of organizational commitment, the relationship between shared leadership and teachers' organizational commitment was computed. Therefore, as far as the relationship between the two domains was concerned, it was found that affective commitment, normative commitment, and continuous commitment was related with each of the domains of shared leadership. The total relationship between shared leadership and organizational commitment was found 0.66. Once the relationship between the shared leadership and organizational commitment was calculated, multiple and simple linear regression analysis was computed accordingly. Just when the relationship with the multiple regression analysis was computed for AC, it was found that 25.7% of the teacher's affective commitment was explained by the combination of shared leadership domains. Likewise, the multiple regression conducted concerning the normative commitment, 24.3% of the normative commitment was explained by a combination of shared leadership domains. In the same way, the continuous commitment or the multiple regression was conducted to test the explaining power of shared leadership on teachers' continuous commitment. Accordingly, it was found that 23.8% of the normative continuous commitment was explained by shared leadership domains. In general, it was found that 66% of the teachers' organizational commitment was computed by or explained by the total score of shared leadership domain. Therefore, it is possible to conclude that shared leadership was not effectively practiced in secondary schools, as well as the level of teachers' organizational commitment was not to the expected level. Therefore, school leaders and any concerned bodies, policymakers, should give great attention to practice shared leadership so as to increase teachers' organizational commitment. Therefore, what I want to say is that shared leadership is theoretically a very important leadership to be applied in secondary schools so as to increase or enhance teachers' organizational commitment. Okay, finally, I would like to say thank you for your listening or watching this video. Thank you very much.